Should DL men be exposed? Okay. I posted a tweet a couple of weeks ago on February the 12th of this year saying that I am never exposing a DL famous person. I'm just not. Okay. And I'll be forthcoming about what inspired this tweet. I was online and I had got wind of the whole situation that was going on with Cherry, right? And and I really don't know because I didn't really click on it to really get into it. I just, I don't fodder on all fodder. Um, so I really didn't get into the nuances on really who the guy was, what led up to it, what happened, da 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 da. I just saw a lot of people online just talking about, exposing DL men, DL culture, people doing it for attention, da 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 da. And so it prompted me to post this tweet about I would never expose a DL famous guy because I have dated DL famous men, uberly famous men, right? I don't say uberly, but at the point at which if somebody ever found out, I already have a plan in mind to get me out of this, they big enough. I've dated DL men, and so just the conversation about Cherry and exposing DL men just kind of resonated with me. I posted this tweet right here. People were upset with me because I said that I would never expose a DL man, mainly women. It was mainly women, which of course I totally understand the conversation and the dynamic, right? Because oftentimes women are on the negative receiving end in DL situations because, DL guy probably has a girl, maybe, and he's doing things behind her back that she may not know that, of course, maybe will hurt her, and it can have so many other dangerous ramifications, health-wise, mental-wise, spiritual-wise, things like that. So I understood why women were so against my tweet, but I would love to talk about it right here. Do you guys think it's okay to expose DL men? I want to know. Chime down in the comments so we can get into it. So here's my thoughts on it, right? I personally feel that it is not okay to expose. You know what? Let me not say it's not okay because I don't know what a person's reasons may be, and there are nuances, right? So I don't want to say it's not okay because I do feel like in certain situations it is okay, right? I feel like it all depends on what the motivations are. I first of all want to say I do not agree with men who deceive and lie to women about engaging in sexual and romantic relationships with men. I do not agree with that. I think that is wrong to lie to anyone in any form of a relationship and keep something that involves relationship as topics, i.e. romance and sex, away from that person. I don't think that's right. I don't think presenting yourself one way while you're engaging in the same things with somebody else is correct. So in no shape or form am I agreeing with men lying to women about their dealings or lack thereof with men. I don't agree with that, which is why, when I used to do it when I was younger, I had a run-in. If you guys follow me on YouTube, I actually had the woman on live who her and I were dating the same guy at the same time. And there was like a whole thing where I messaged her and all that other stuff. But it was from that situation that really put me first row to experience how a DL relationship affects a woman. And I did not like that. I didn't like how it made me feel. I didn't like how it made me look. I didn't like the conversations I had to have in being responsible for my part in it. And so solely really off of the impact it has on women who are involved, I do not agree with DL men dating women and of course lying about it because of DL. What do you guys think about that? Tell me. I really, 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 really want to know. However, I do not agree with people who engage in DL relationships, usually in exchange for some type of something, whether it's monetary, whether it's time, whether it's something. The man is trusting you with this part of his life, and you accept it for whatever reason, and then later on you renege on it for a reason that's not directly related to something that's life-threatening, right? I personally feel like a guy who is DL, he's engaging in this activity with me because I've agreed to keep this secret, right? And in my case, so it just wouldn't be right for you to agree to certain terms or receive gifts, receive, services, receive incentives, receive money, receive housing, receive conversation, protection, love, sex, whatever it is, receive these things from this DO man, and then you later, in my eyes, renege on the contractual agreement. I think the only space allowed for someone, in my eyes, to expose a DL person is if, one, they are endangering you or someone else, or have endangered you or someone else. Yeah, air that nigga out. We all need to know, okay? Because somebody's life can be on the line. Or they have publicly come for you in some sort of way, then I'm gonna retaliate like, bitch. I almost had a situation like that. I'm gonna try not to be too specific, but I was working somewhere one time, and I was working somewhere with a DL guy who I knew was DL, and I knew they was DL because we didn't talked about them being DL, right? And we in the space working, and they tried to like come at me on like a gay type of thing, and I'm looking at this like, so you're really placing me in this position to not snatch your wig back right now because you suck more dick than the law loud than I do. I almost slipped up, but I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that because even though it'll be a good get back and a good finish on, DL men deal with a lot, and I don't know about y'all. Let's take it out of the conversation of being DL. There are certain aspects in all of our lives that we don't want people knowing about, right? We all got our little book. We all got our little skeleton. We all got our little thing in the back of our closet that we don't want nobody knowing about, that only we deal with in our own personal space. And if we're strong enough and confident enough and comfortable enough, we will invite other people that we trust in on that experience, but it's still one that is ours, right? So that's why I kind of have a little bit of compassion for DL men in that regard, and wanting to keep an aspect of their life they are not yet comfortable with. They haven't really figured it out. They're afraid. I get it. I get it. Again, as long as you're not hurting nobody or lying to nobody, I get it. Because another nuance, and I'm all over the place with this, but another nuance is a lot of DL guys don't date women at all. They just don't publicly date men. I've had plenty of cousins in my family where, we don't, growing up, you ain't never seen with no woman, you ain't never seen nobody come around, but, all the while they got a little partner on the other side of town and they've been living in the same house for 25 years, walking dogs, having a good time. You know what I mean? So not all DL men are lying to women or are presenting themselves as heterosexual and they're not. Some DL men, again, a lot of them just date privately, telling y'all a little bit of my business. My most recent DL situation last year was someone who just dates privately. They don't talk about what they do, they just date privately. And it's cool. At that point, I'm like, oh, this is great. It's kind of like a little cheat code. Don't nobody got to know we go together, but you ain't lying to no woman. I love it. It's amazing. So what do y'all think? Is it okay to expose a DL man? What do you guys think? I want to know.